3, 2, 1.
What is up, y'all? Welcome back. Podcast with Blake, and over there is Austin. So, welcome back to the Vol Talk podcast. Thank you for joining us. Man, we are picking up. We are putting on more steam with this podcast, man. We started at 0, now we're at 20, almost 20.
Hey, let's go,
Hey,
baby.
it's not much, but it's something. It's
Mm-hmm.
something. So we thank you all for. In fact, Austin was just telling me before we started recording this that we got a couple folks who are watching all the way through, watching all of our episodes already. So you know what? We thank y'all. If you're watching our episodes, again, production quality is not the best right now, especially right now. Okay, let me go ahead and say this right up front. I am out of town and I do not have a good internet connection right now, so I might freeze pretty frequently. Austin's going to carry this pod, this episode. He's going to talk a lot of the time
Well,
to
I
carry.
mean, it wouldn't be the first pod I carried. Let's be
Well,
honest.
yeah, I kind of teed you up for that, didn't
Yeah,
I?
you did. I had to
I
take
figured,
it.
yeah, I figured that was coming. But yeah, Austin is going to pick up if I freeze, but I apologize, y'all. We'll be back to normal starting next week. I'll be back in person with Austin for the podcast. But thank you all for your patience. Thank you again. Please like, subscribe, comment, share. And be looking out for new episodes every Monday and Thursday at 10 a.m. We're aiming to drop our game reviews. So, the most recent game that finished on the prior Saturday, we will drop that review on Monday at 10 a.m. And then we will drop the upcoming game preview on Thursday at 10 a.m. So, Mondays and Thursdays, 10 a.m. Look out for new episodes.
Blake is frozen, so I'm going to talk.
If you're
Um,
listening to us on Spotify, um, that I cut out.
you did. But we are here for
Sweet.
the
What?
Oklahoma preview, brother.
Yeah. So what I was saying is turn on those notifications when you subscribe, so you don't miss a podcast episode. But thank
Let's
y'all.
go.
Yes. This is the Oklahoma preview, and Austin, this is our first. This is going to be our first real test, and it's the start of conference play. So this is the most important podcast we've had yet, probably.
Oh yeah, man. I mean, everyone's amped up, man. Since the beginning of the year,
Uh,
this was the game everyone had circled. Okay,
you know,
we to get to the college football playoff, we had to win one of Oklahoma, Georgia, and Alabama, and then take care of business every other game. That was kind of like everyone's expectation. Like, oh, if we beat one of these three teams and we take care of business in the other games that we should win, then we can be in the college football playoff. So with that being said, this is a massive game. I mean, absolutely massive game. Like Blake said, first conference game of the season. It's at Oklahoma. It's in Norman. So that's really exciting. And dude, it's like fans all season, dude, have had this game circled. We wanted to get to this game. We wanted to see because like you said, this is the first real test. We'll see if this dominant Vol team, possibly the most dominant Vol team through three games in the history of our program, can keep up what they've shown all season against Oklahoma. So yeah, I'm really excited.
it's going to be a great week of volunteer football. Because yeah, man, this is just such an important game, and hopefully my video unfreezes there. There we go. Again, y'all, apologies for the production quality right now. If we go out and we take care of business, then finally we can put to rest this. Oh, it was just Kent State. Oh, it was just NC State. NC State's not good this year like we thought they were. We can put this to rest because this is an Oklahoma team that is, yes, Oklahoma has struggled a little bit offensively, but this is a good Oklahoma team with a good coach and a good roster of players. I mean, this is an SEC caliber team that is now in a very tough place to play in Norman.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, there after this game, if we go in and we take care of business, there shouldn't be any more talk
No,
the
there
quality
will
of our
be
play.
though. I mean, at the end of the day, that's what fans do. People don't want to credit Tennessee.
Yeah,
I mean, we're frankly we're one of the most hated fan bases in the SEC. People will never want
yeah,
to credit the Vols. It'll be revisionist history. Oh, it's only Oklahoma. Oklahoma wasn't that good to begin with. Look how they almost lost to Houston. Well, just ask yourself the question: why are they ranked number 15th right now? Why are they ranked number
yeah.
15th if not good? So we'll see this week, right? It's put up or shut up time for both teams. I mean, this is a massive game not only for Tennessee but for Oklahoma. Um, so yeah, man, this is like you said, it's the first real test, and we'll see how this team plays on the road, dude. It's the first road test. It's the first conference game. It's a lot of firsts this week. But I'm optimistic, man. I'm very optimistic because this is the first thing I'll say about the game, man. A lot like the NC State preview. Oklahoma's biggest weakness is their
Mm.
offensive line. Okay? They replaced all 5 starters from last season, 4 of which are transfers, and they've looked like it. They have not played well on the offensive line. It's one of the reasons their offense can't function right now. You barely beat Houston. You put up 16 points against Houston. Let me just say this right now. If Tennessee played Houston in week 2, we would have put up 60. Okay? There's just no debate. We would have put up 60.
It's it's
It was
just
at
tough.
home too. It was in Oklahoma, and they only put up 16 against Houston. So that seems troubling. If I'm an Oklahoma fan and I see those kind of stats, I'm looking at Tennessee. I'm looking at Tennessee, looking what the strength of the team is. Oh shoot, that's the best. The best position group is the D line. Our worst position group is the offensive line. That's something to watch out for. The defensive line should dominate in this game, dude. It should absolutely wreak havoc on Oklahoma. So, really excited for that. Really excited to see how that matchup plays out. But it's also another interesting matchup on the other side of the ball. Our offense versus Oklahoma's defense, like you alluded to earlier, Blake. That's the strength of their football team. Brent Venables, defensive-minded head coach. They've played really good defense this year. Now, they've also played really bad opponents. So, a lot like us. I mean, it's not. The thing is, like NC State, you could argue is the hardest out of the 6 opponents both teams have played. Yeah, the difference is that Oklahoma was struggling into the fourth quarter with Houston and Tulane. So, Tulane. So, yeah,
Chilling,
man.
yeah.
Um, it's interesting, dude. We'll see how Nico looks on the road. We've mentioned a few times that quote, him saying how he likes road games
Hmm.
more. He
Yep.
kind of likes being the underdog in road environments. Um, so that's going to be interesting. But yeah, man, I think again the biggest matchup to watch is our D line versus our offensive line, and how Nico and the offense as a whole operates on the road against a
On the
really
road.
good defense. So, in my opinion, it's going to be a defensive ball game. Is my prediction.
Yeah, and I think that's a good prediction, and I think it's good that you point out, we're going to see how the offense functions on the road, especially with these new in-helmet headsets, right? So let's see how well they can do with those headsets. That's going to be important. But yeah, man, there's so many headlines to cover, right? So we're going to talk. We'll do our normal thing. We'll kind of preview. Austin already gave you a little snippet there, but there's so many headlines. To talk about. I know if any of you all watched the Kent State review episode, Austin alluded to some things he wants to talk about the Oklahoma fans. We'll get to that in a little bit. But let's start with what to me is the most exciting headline for me is, man, let's start the Heupel revenge tour, baby. Heupel was fired from Oklahoma. Oklahoma, didn't want to bring Blon as a head coach. He got fired as offensive coordinator way back when. It was his alma mater. That's where he played. But now there's some bad blood there, and so he's going to be smelling the blood in the water. He's going to say it's not a personal game, but it probably is.
Oh, it's 100% personal, dude. Heupel is such a competitor. That's the thing. When you have a player head coach, and this is not just any player, this was a Heisman Trophy runner up, national championship winning quarterback. He is a high level competitor. He wants to beat Oklahoma, dude, so badly.
100%.
So badly he wants to beat Oklahoma. So we'll see, man. Maybe he'll coach emotionally, or maybe he'll be on top of it and come up with the best game plan ever. But that is definitely a massive storyline going into the game. I mean, Heupel was the quarterback of the last national championship winning Oklahoma team, dude. They've had good teams since that team in 2000, but they haven't got to the mountaintop. Heupel was the quarterback that took them to the mountaintop, man. So it's definitely a massive storyline. And that, I mean, honestly, that leads into what I want to talk to the fan base about. First of all, you've not played in the SEC before, so I would, if I were me, or if I were them, I would be humble going into this game, because it's the SEC, bro. It's your first game, and let me be honest, you didn't draw a very a favorable first opponent in the SEC. And then nextly, some of the banter I'm hearing, specifically one Oklahoma podcast that I saw on Twitter said, basically threw Heupel right under the bus. He said, if Oklahoma ever loses to a team that's coached by Josh Heupel, he believes that Oklahoma coach should be fired because he believes Heupel's such a bad coach. And dude, he's your last quarterback who led you to a national championship. And the dude looked like he might have been in early 20s, maybe. So maybe he doesn't realize it. But, dude, I'm a historian of the game. Go look up. Be appreciative to what that man did for you, bro. He's literally your last starting quarterback to lead you to a national championship. And since he left Oklahoma, Stoops didn't do crap. Stoops didn't do anything, man. He didn't win nothing. All right? He didn't win nothing. So for you idiot fans to say that, oh, if we lose the Heupel, we should fire the coach. Oh, dude. Well, then I would go ahead and get that petition ready, brother. I would go ahead and get the petition ready, because the line started about 4 points in Oklahoma's favor. Now it's about 7 points in Tennessee's favor. So I would go ahead, write up the petition, start getting signatures. We need to fire Brent Venables because, buddy, we'll see.
Coming.
We'll see, man. We will see.
We will see, because the hype train is coming to Norman, and yeah, man, it's like you got to show some respect, and and it's like, yeah, the kid's young, he doesn't realize that history existed before he was born, I guess. But yeah, man, like it's coming. The hype train is coming to town, so you might and yeah, start signing it. So. That's wild to me that people would show that kind of disrespect, and and it's like, what do you have against Heupel?
Well, apparently the guy was saying their offense hasn't looked this bad, alluding to how bad it's looked this season since Heupel coached there. And I mean, maybe that's the case. I'm not going to look into the numbers. All that guy should know is go look at the numbers Heupel's put up since he's been here. Go look at those numbers. Those are the relevant numbers, brother. Because, I mean, we talked about it last episode, but the first 3 games, we have the highest margin of victory in the first 3 games in SEC history. Second most in college football history. So those are things that seem relevant, man. Those are things that seem relevant that I would take into account when I'm talking about a guy who won me a national championship. I just can't imagine that kind of disrespect, man. I would never say that kind of thing about T. Martin. I would never. It wouldn't even cross my mind. I wouldn't even say those kind of things about great quarterbacks who didn't win national championships, like Hendon Hooker. It's incredibly disrespectful from a fan base who. I don't know why you would feel you're entitled to Oklahoma. You haven't done anything in forever, and
essentially since we've done something.
Yeah, exactly. So dude, like I said, we'll see. I feel. Listen, I mean, of course, my BVS is always going to be here, so I'm always going to be nervous going into a game. But dude, on paper, dude, it is a very favorable matchup. A very favorable matchup. Just like the NC State matchup, man. I said their worst position groups are O line, and we can exploit that, dude. So
And then we did.
and we did, and I believe it could happen against Oklahoma. I'm obviously hoping it happens against Oklahoma, and like we said, going into the season, like we've said throughout the podcast, if we win this game, it changes the course of the season. It changes what you can accomplish as a
Yes.
football team. There's no more talking about 9-3, 8-4. At that point, it should be 10-2 at minimum, and you're looking at a college football playoff berth, which would be massive. But
100%.
but the possibility I want to talk about, since I'm already ticked off about these idiot Oklahoma fans, is there is a live possibility, dude, based on how we've played and based on how they've played, that we kill them in this game. That is a very, very legitimate possibility. I don't know if it will happen. I'll get to my score prediction at the end of the show, but it is not a 0% chance that we go into Norman and we beat the brakes off Oklahoma, dude. It looks like that on paper, and it could very well play out like that.
And I would love nothing more than that, as a ball fan, but also for Heupel. I'd love for him to just go in there and be and tell you what, people have been talking about. Oh, Heupel's running up the score. Why is Heupel kicking an onside kick? Up 30-0 in the first quarter. Let me just go ahead and tell you this: if we start to run away with this game, he's not taking his foot off their throat.
Nope.
He's not taking his foot off the gas if we run away with this game. So, and you mentioned, the money line shifting in Tennessee's favor. We'll just say this: anything can happen in college football. That's why some people make money on betting, right? Because the odds don't always play out how we expect them to. But in general, the odds exist the way they do because Vegas is typically pretty smart about this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And it's shifted from like you said, 4 points in Oklahoma's favor to 7 points in our favor. That's an 11-point shift. And so, yeah, if I was Oklahoma fans, I wouldn't be going. If you like Brent Venables any amount, I wouldn't be going out and saying idiotic stuff like we need to fire him if he loses the title because it's probably gonna.
Yeah, I mean, listen. You're 100% right about Vegas and the point spread. I always tell people this that's unbiased, dude. You listen to this podcast, you're gonna get some biased conversation. Okay, we're Vol fans. Okay, we're
Yeah,
talking.
yeah,
We literally have a podcast called Vol Talk. Like we're gonna be biased towards the Vols. Vegas ain't. Vegas don't care, bro. They're out to make money, and the line was set at 7.5 this week because they've watched the games. They've seen what's happened. They've seen what's played out. Tennessee has a more talented team than Oklahoma. That's a fact. Now, will that come to fruition? That's the question. Will they play to their potential? Because their potential is beating Oklahoma by 3 touchdowns. That's the potential of this team. Will they play to that potential? I don't know. It's a hard environment to play in. It wasn't that hard for Houston, okay? I mean, in all fairness, it wasn't. It seemed pretty simple for Houston because Houston was way outmatched talent-wise. Way outmatched. Just like Kent State was. The difference was we were up 65-0 at halftime, and Houston took it into the fourth quarter. That's just what happened.
the
So we'll
numbers,
see.
and
It's
we talk a lot about on this podcast that the numbers don't lie, and those are the
yeah,
numbers.
exactly, dude. So we'll see, dude. The biggest thing I think the Vols. Listen, the defense is going to travel. The defense is going to travel. Could they regress? Yes. Oklahoma has some good receivers. They could regress. The secondary specifically. I do not think the defensive line is going to regress. I don't think Oklahoma is going to be able to run the football. I think we're going to get pressure on the quarterback. The biggest question mark is, will our offense travel? Will Nico be able to handle the environment? And you alluded to the headsets. That's a big thing. But it's also just the level of competition. Oklahoma has a really good defense, so can we play to that level of competition? Nico's still young. He made some mistakes in the NC State game. I would expect him to make a couple mistakes in this game. I don't expect Nico to play perfect. The biggest thing is we're going to have to lean on the run game, dude. That's really the strength of the offense. and it's looked dominant. So we'll see if we can run the ball. I think that's what it's going to come down to on offense. But also Nico's going to have to make some plays, especially if this comes down to the fourth quarter. If this is a close ball game going into the fourth quarter, Nico's going to have to show up, dude. He's going to have to be a difference maker in big moments.
Yep.
And that's really one of the last questions we have left with Nico is, can you be a difference maker in those massive moments? Just like Hendon Hooker was, man, against Alabama in 2022 when we had 15 seconds left on the clock. What did Hendon do? 2 throws, gave his guys a chance, got in field goal range, and got the kick. Nico hasn't been in that kind of moment yet. So we'll see if it plays out. I'm leaning towards it's not going to play out, but it's because I think we're going to be up by more than that in the fourth quarter. That's just my inclination, just looking at the numbers. I mean, like you said, we're looking at numbers, but yeah, man.
But do you think? Let me ask you this: do you think this will be the first game that Nico does actually play in the fourth quarter? Because you said already he hasn't played a fourth quarter yet for the Tennessee Volunteers. So, are we going to be up big enough for him to be benched?
I think. Listen, I think
I don't want to jump to the score prediction, but
no. I'll answer your question. I do think he'll play in the fourth quarter. I do. I think it's not going to be that big of a blowout. I don't. I think Oklahoma is too talented of a team to get blown out like that. But let me say this. If they are blown out, okay, this is a hypothetical. We're Vol fans. We're doing hypotheticals, okay? If they are blown out, let me say something to the AP poll and the rest of college football. Tennessee should be ranked at minimum number 2 in the country, okay? At minimum, number 2 in the country, behind Texas, okay? They should be number 2 in the country. If I'm saying if we blow them out, if Nico doesn't play in the fourth quarter. And get ready. The Vols are coming. Because we have said how dominant this team has been through 3 games. It's literally the most dominant team ever, possibly in Tennessee history, through 3 games. If they continue that level of dominance in Oklahoma, there is not a single team in the country we cannot beat this season, dude. Not a single team in the country.
100%. Especially because the field is looking beatable. I mean, this is a Tennessee Vols podcast, so we're not going to talk too much. But I mean, Kentucky took Georgia to the fourth quarter, and Georgia from Stoops' conservatism.
Yeah, exactly.
And so, Georgia's looking beatable. Alabama, sorry, you're beatable.
That's super beatable, dude. I cannot wait for that game, but
we're not going to jump the gun too much, but yeah, I can't wait for that game. And let me just say this real quick. I want to go ahead and establish this on the podcast. University of Tennessee Volunteers are the real UT. Austin just mentioned, that we would be ranked number 2 behind Texas because that just makes sense right now. But let me remind our good friends in Texas that Texas wouldn't be a state without Tennessee. And all the most famous Texans, Davy Crockett, Sam Houston, etc., were Tennesseans first. So Tennessee is the real UT. I think you're on the right track, man. If we end up blowing them out, I agree with you. I don't think it's going to be a blowout. But if we do end up blowing them out, it's like you've got look, we're getting respect because we're moving up the AP poll.
Yeah.
But I still don't think people are. I don't think people are respecting us because of the opponents, right? But if we go in and blow out Oklahoma, then you said exactly. You said it was like, okay, people are still going to come up with excuses. Oklahoma's not as good as we thought they were this year, whatever. But they're still a talented football team, and so if we go in there and we blow them out, enough. Like you've got to start respecting what this team is doing.
The gig is up, exactly, because it really comes down to how the defense plays, man. If somehow this defense can keep up that score streak, now that's a lot to ask, man. That's a lot to ask. But if they do, bro, we're looking at, because now we don't even talk about the offense, man. We're talking about one of the most dominant defenses ever through 4 games, ever. So now we're talking about, can this defense just lead us to a national championship? Is our defense so good that can they lead us to a national championship? And again, we're jumping the gun. Well, listen, that's why we have previews and we have reviews. I might come out here afterwards after we get beat by Oklahoma, pissed off and say, hey, our defense sucks. But right now, it's very possible that this defense can play lights out in Oklahoma, man. I mean, I think the matchup is really good on paper, and at that point, dude, I really listen. I'm not saying we're going to beat Georgia. I'm not saying we're going to beat Alabama, although I am saying that to be honest. But anyways, I'm not saying those things. But if we blow it out Oklahoma, dude, it there's nobody who can beat us at that point. Now we can get beat. That's not what I'm saying. There's a difference between me saying that there's no one who can beat us and we can get beat, but there's no one who we can't beat. Is my point.
We can't beat.
Yeah, exactly. There's no one who we can't beat in the country if we go out and blow out Oklahoma, in my opinion.
Yeah, especially because it's in Norman, right? I mean, a road game is difficult in conference play, regardless of the opponent. Uh, about if my video unfreezes, let's talk about. I don't know
We
why
back.
it's frozen there. We're back. So let's talk about kind of your biggest kind of, you talked about the offensive line of Oklahoma versus our defensive line. What are some other kind of, key things that we're looking at heading into the game, in terms of position groups or just, matchups or whatever?
So another thing I'll say is let's see how our secondary holds up, man. This is
Yeah.
going to be the best wide receiver group they face this season, so we'll see how they hold up. I don't listen. I don't know. I don't know. I'm confident the defensive line is going to play well. I do not know if the secondary is going to play well. I think that's one thing that could keep Oklahoma in the football game, unless our offense just gets shut down. I think that is. Listen, I'm optimistic this season. We've been dominant, but I do think that's a possibility. I think this could be a game that is like maybe less than 20 points on both sides going into the fourth quarter. Like one of those kind of just gritty defensive SEC games that comes down to the fourth quarter. And if that happens, kind of like I alluded to earlier, man, Nico is going to have to be special. He
Yeah.
hasn't had to be special yet. He's shown special ability, but he hasn't had to be
Right.
special in big moments yet. So we'll see. I'm excited to see if that happens. I don't my where I'm leaning right now is I don't think that's gonna happen this week. I do think we're actually gonna win handily, but that's a question mark, dude. Does he have that and those that kind of special intangible? The clutch gene, if you will, if he can have ice in his veins in the fourth quarter and come up with massive plays. That's one thing I'm looking for. And then we'll see if our run game can sustain the success they've had, dude. It's been unbelievable success. So we'll see. I can't say for certain. I would say that I think it's going to be solid, but maybe not. Obviously, not as dominant as it been the first three games. But those are just some of the other things I'm looking at. And see. And again, dude, I mean, I want to reiterate one more time that I think what this game is going to come down to is I think we're going to dominate the trenches, dude. Especially on defense, man. I think you're going to see
Yeah.
Oklahoma not be able to. We're going to force them in third and longs, man. That's what we've been doing all season. Teams cannot run the ball on first and second down against us, and we're facing an offensive line that, frankly, could be even worse than NC State's offensive line, because NC State actually had a level of continuity with their offensive line. They had multiple guys who have been starting together for multiple years, and Oklahoma cannot say that, dude. They've replaced all five of their offensive linemen, and so listen, man. I think we're gonna come on here Sunday night, post it on Monday next week, and we're gonna say, hey, this defensive line is the best in the country, and they showed up once again and shut Oklahoma down. I think that's going to be the story.
And I would love nothing more for that to be the story, because man, I love defense. I think my video quality is probably pretty bad right now.
Oh, it's
But
good on my end.
oh, it's good on your end. Okay, that's good. Um,
As you freeze, that's
to
hilarious.
for us to shock the world, and it's like, oh, we thought, team this was going to be an explosive offensive team, and all of a sudden it's like this team is known for its defense. So I
Exactly,
love
dude.
that.
Who would have seen that coming, man? Nobody
Yeah,
saw that coming.
exactly,
Nobody.
exactly.
We knew we had defensive talent. We knew we had top tier talent, but we had no idea this could end up being the strength of the team, which is 100% the story through 3 games. It is the
Three
strength of the
games.
football team, and it's maybe the best in the entire country.
Yeah, but like you said, the secondary is finally going to get tested. So I mean, we're going to get tested in general, but the secondary especially will be tested. So I think, unfortunately, I think the defense will lose their no offensive touchdowns allowed streak, and it'll probably be a result, unfortunately. But that's okay. We need this too. In my opinion, we need this game against Oklahoma, Arkansas on the road the following week, right, to really important game reps, so that we can, play that other red team that's going to be coming to Neyland in a few weeks. And
This is
so
such a crucial game. I mean, this
it's a
is
crucial game.
it's a
So
crucial
crucial.
game, dude. You really have to have it, and it just sets the tone for the season, man.
Yeah.
Because I mean, the team is so locked in right now. The culture of that this team is. I mean, Heupel has them so locked in. They're not complacent. They're not. Dude, no one even has cracked a smile. I've literally not seen Josh Heupel smile all season long, which is where you want to get. That's where you want the team. You want to play to a
Yeah.
standard. You want to play to, like Heupel said, the opponent's faceless, the opponent's nameless. Just be a savage, dude. Just do what you're supposed to do on every single snap. That's what you want, and that's how they've played. But as a fan base, this game is everything, dude, because we know what it means. We know that this game opens up the possibility to be a postseason team, which is right now what everyone's predicting. You won't find anyone saying Tennessee was not a postseason team at this point, which makes me nervous. I'm not going to lie. It makes me nervous, those expectations, even though I have nothing to do with the team's success, obviously, but it still makes me nervous as a fan because it's like, you know, man, we're in the national spotlight again. Even I feel like even more so than 22, man. Like in 22, it was a
Yeah.
slow build. It really didn't come to fruition until we beat Alabama.
Yeah.
This season, it's very early on, dude. Like everyone's talking about Tennessee already, so it's going to be interesting. But this game, and particularly how we look in this game, the performance. I always say that the performance matters. It's really going to tell us, like, it's going to answer a lot of questions. It's going to definitively answer a lot of questions. Now, does that mean we're guaranteed to beat all the other teams? No, we know that's not the case. I mean, you know, South Carolina 2022. Do I need to say more? Like, it's not, you're never guaranteed to win all the games. But this game in particular just opens everything up. It opens the possibilities up. So a win would just be, it would be massive, dude. At the end
Yeah.
of the day, it would be massive.
Yeah. Absolutely. And it would. You're right. Like we're already getting talked about a little bit in the media. AP polls already got us at number 6 this year. But by the same token, there's still all this chatter from fans not giving respect to Tennessee, right? And
Yeah.
so I think this win would be huge to, like, hey, like you've got to finally recognize that this team is different, and this team is the 22 team, but potentially even better because the defense is even more put together. And so yeah, it's at the end of the day, we need to go into this game, and I love that Heupel is going to be looking for blood because we need to draw blood in this game. We need
Yeah.
to come in and just play lights out on the road. Again, Nico needs to show that he really does have that factor, to me, in this game.
Yeah.
He's got to bring it. Everyone's got to bring it, but Nico, like you said, I think he needs to show that he's got that it factor.
Yeah, I agree. Um, and we'll see how clean we play
Just
too. I
like you
mean,
said.
well, sorry, go ahead.
No, so yeah, I'm sorry, I must have froze. I was just saying I'm nervous too, right? Like I'm nervous because, like you said, the BVS, but I'm excited.
Oh, totally, dude. I'm totally excited. I mean, I can't. I literally can't wait till this weekend. Like, I desperately don't want to go to my job this week. Like, that's how excited I am. I literally just want to fast
Yeah.
forward to Saturday, 7:30 on ABC. College game days in town. It literally doesn't get any better than this. And listen, they're there for the Vols, brother. Don't get it twisted. They are there
100%.
to see
100%.
Tennessee play. That's why they're there. They're not there for Oklahoma. They're there for us because it's about us this season. And it's time for the team to put people on notice, like you said. Oh, the fans aren't, dude. Nobody's respecting Tennessee, man. Nobody's respecting y'all. Nobody. So show them. Show them. It's time
Yep.
to show us. It's conference play. Go and whip Oklahoma's ass because you're better. You're
A
better.
hundred.
Blake's frozen with his eyes closed.
Oh
Oh,
gosh, that's not a good look to be frozen my eyes. But yeah, no, I was just saying 100%. We're better. And so yeah, we got to show it. And yeah, like you said, they're there for the Vols. And guess what? They're going to be in Knoxville 2 weeks later for the Alabama game.
absolutely,
And so
dude.
actually, 3 weeks later, actually maybe. I think somewhere. Anyway, so. Man, it's going to be good stuff. Listen, this internet quality for me, Austin is carrying this podcast hard. 'Cause
What's new?
check, check. Um, and so yeah, there we go. I froze again. So this quality is terrible. Apologize, y'all. Thanks for watching all the way through the episode. But let's go ahead and let's move to some score predictions.
Yep.
And do you have any? Well, before we do that, do you have any kind of other final thoughts before we hit score
No,
predictions?
man. Just excited and let's go, baby. Let's go get the dub.
Let's go. Go Big Orange. All right. So what are you thinking? What are we? I've got my score prediction ready. What are you thinking?
This is gonna be crazy. I think. Okay. I don't want to get carried away, so I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go 31-13. That's my score prediction. 31-13. I think it's going to be a convincing victory. We are going to give up a touchdown. It's not going to be the craziest offensive performance in the world, but I think you're going to see why the SEC is a little bit different than the Big Ten. Okay, we play a little bit different down here. All right, we roll about 12 deep on the defensive line, and they're going to control the game, bro. They're going to control the line of scrimmage. Oklahoma's not going to be able to run the ball. They might create a couple big plays in the pass game, depending on how secondary plays. Maybe the secondary would prove me wrong, but yeah, dude, I think it's going to be a dominant defensive line performance. I think Nico's going to do enough. I think Samson's going to run well, and I think we'll win 31-13.
I like it. I like it. I love to hear that confidence in the defense. I want to see it. And so I'm going to go a little bit different of a route. I'm going to go 38-24. Vols win 38-24 by two
Okay.
touchdowns. I think offense is going to put up, a good performance against a pretty good Oklahoma defense. Um, Give up a few touchdowns, but ultimately do what they need to do. And so, at the end of the day, though, I do think we win at least two touchdowns. That's me being optimistic. At the end of the day, though, I just want to come out
Yeah, I want a W, bro.
and keep
I
steaming
just
on.
Yeah, I just want to win. If they squeak one out, I'll be happy. I
Yeah,
don't want to be nervous. Part of my score prediction is I just don't want to be nervous Saturday night and sweating out a
yeah,
victory.
yeah,
But I really do think that on paper we could blow this team out. I just think it's a possibility, and I think that's what I'm going to go with.
yeah. Good stuff. Good stuff. All right, y'all. That is our preview for the Oklahoma game versus Tennessee Volunteers. Our Vols are rolling into Norman, so we hope you all enjoy the game. We hope you all enjoyed the episode today. We hope you have been enjoying the podcast. Please like, comment, and subscribe. We really appreciate it. And again, next week, scheduled programming, I'll be back in person with Austin. We're looking forward to it, and I hope, bro, I hope that when I'm back face to face with you, I hope we're celebrating a big Oklahoma dub. That's what I
May,
hope.
maybe live reaction after the Oklahoma game, late night live reaction.
I don't know about that, man. I'm gonna be top
Dude,
dog.
I mean, give the fans what they want, dude. Live
I
reaction after
know,
the game.
but
That's a
we got to
big
give it.
game, dude. That's big
We,
traffic.
we we got to give the people what they want. I hear you. Because we are getting some loyal fans now. Shout out to y'all. So
I don't know about loyal fans, but
we'll get there. All right, y'all. Thanks so much for joining us, and we will see you next time. Later.
GBO.